Hey everyone, this is Jax again from the Popcorn Review Podcast, and today is going to be episode 7, Monday Night Raw. It's going to be from March 31st. This is going to be closing out their European tour, if I'm not mistaken, so they will be to a regular time next Monday. This episode actually started off similar to the rest. John Cena's music hits. This one was a little bit up in the air. A lot of people were saying, "Thank you, Cena. Cena sucks." So this time around, at least the third time around, the crowd was 50-50. A lot of people were happy to see him. You saw them dressed up in their new John Cena t-shirts. So looks like he's gonna have a t-shirt for every place that he goes to, it looks like, or at least different kind of logo or setup depending on where he goes. So a lot of people are definitely gonna be buying his merch no matter what. Um, the only difference is that instead of him having a 15 to 18 minute promo in the ring, right before he grabs the mic and start talking, Cody Rhodes music hits. Cody interrupts him, kind of does his whole whoa, taking his sweet time, the champion's time, walking to the ring. And then they just exchange words. Here you have John Cena pretty much saying that Cody Rhodes is just lucky. He's his chauffeur, a glorified chauffeur that, he stole his knowledge of the game and pretty much was saying that you're not worthy of this. You're not the guy, pretty much, that I'm going to take that title and retire into the sunset. um I mean, when John Cena is having these promos, guys, I don't know if you guys notice, his neck is turning like bright red. So still feel like a lot what he's saying is true. Whether it's just saying that Cody used him or he's still upset on how the fans treated him for the last 20 something years. I feel like what John Cena is definitely saying, you can see it in his face. I mean, he is an actor, but if you look at his neck, guys, from like here down to like his chest area, he is definitely upset, showing you that he is upset about something. And you definitely see it in this promo. Um, this one here, again, he's calling Cody Rhodes fake. He's calling Cody Rhodes, like a wannabe, that you're not the guy who you say you are. You dress in these nice, expensive suits. Pretty much calling Cody out. And I think I've mentioned it before that I feel like Cody can be a great heel. He kind of dresses like the heel instead of with the robes like Ric Flair used to do. Um, he kind of does it with his suits, very, pristine and proper suits, has a different suit, I think, like every time he's out there. Definitely spends time and money on his suits. But again, he has that kind of like evil side, if I'm not mistaken, just by the way he dressed, the way he acts sometimes. Cody then says, WWE fans didn't want you, but they chose me. Pretty much saying, again, the champ is here type of deal. Like they chose me to be the guy. They chose me to be here. Um, Kind of exchange words again. And John Cena goes, he gets in his little stance like he's going to do something, does nothing again. And then kind of like fakes as he's going to do something. Cody Rhodes grabs him, hits him with the crossroads. Um, Expected more of this, to be honest with you, them kind of exchanging more blows, if anything, instead of words. I think this is the only time they've actually, at least on Raw, that have actually had an altercation or something to that effect. So you definitely see that, it's building up to WrestleMania. I think we have a couple more weeks till WrestleMania. In this instance here, this is kind of what I was expecting from them, exchanging words, somebody getting the better of one another. The last 2 weeks, they were just talking and not even doing a lot of that. It was just a lot of BS, in my opinion. But at least we got to see Cody get back on him. I know Cody's eventually going to try to get back at The Rock. Travis Scott, he should at least get a slap in there or something just to show that, he got that receipt coming. Maybe it'll happen at WrestleMania. Maybe Travis Scott will try to come in. I think he is the what was it? His song is like the WrestleMania song this year, so maybe he'll perform it or something before the match, and then Cody Rhodes might just slap the shit out of him, or he might try to interfere. Cody Rhodes slap the shit out of him. At least he should slap the shit out of him. I mean, it could be just part of the story, but they said he busted his eardrum, so I mean they definitely should do something about that. Cody hits him with the crossroads, or at least slaps him back. Get that off of him. You later on in the day, well, after that again, hit him with the crossroads. That segment ended. Later in the day, you have the Judgment Day kind of celebrating. Finn's like, "Yeah, Dom, we got that, we won that. We showed those guys that we can do it." But this is after the fight with that Finn and Dom had with Penta and Braun, which was a pretty good match. Braun and Penta actually were working really well together. Um, of course, I kind of towards the end, she still had interference with Carlito. Um, Judgment Day did look strong by taking this one out. There was like a miscommunication with Braun and Penta. Penta ended up getting hurt, or I think Dom actually pushed Penta in the way, kind of speared him there. So they kind of ended up at the end of the day, fighting about it, like, hey man, you took that on purpose type of deal, or always kind of make the good guys against each other, even though it was a mistake. But later on, you did see Finn Balor like so excited, like, oh man, we did it, we won it, man, we beat him, I beat him. And then when Finn leaves and goes, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Adam Pearce, see if I can end a title shot at Mania for the IC. And he was like, everybody's like, yeah, go ahead. But then Liv kind of like grabs Dom and goes, what do you mean that he won? Y'all won that together. Y'all put in that same amount of time to win that match. It wasn't just him, it was both of y'all. So she's kind of getting in Dom's ear. And I feel like this is, like I mentioned a few episodes, Finn Balor deserves to be by himself. They're going to push him out. It looks like he is the last remaining person from that whole time that when Edge started it with Rhea and Priest. So he is the last guy from that the main four at that time. So I definitely see them pushing Finn out. Um, Liv is talking about maybe asking Adam Pearce to give, Dom a title shot. I'm sure that's going to happen. And then that's going to be like the straw that broke the camel's back type of deal. They're going to end up fighting with Finn or beating down Finn. It looks like they might add someone else, because I don't know if Dom has a lot of heat, but I don't know if Dom is going to be able to be the leader of that group. Same thing with Liv. I don't see that being the case. Raquel is more of like the bodyguard type of deal. And then Carlito's more of the jokester. So I don't know if they'll have Dom. I mean, Dom has the most heat. I just don't know if Dom's going to be able to pull off being a leader this early in his career. So see how that plays out. Again, see definitely a divide between the Judgment Day. Not a great group to begin with, like I mentioned in the past, but we'll see how that plays out with them. Later on in the day, you had, you know, um, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for that, champion to go against Belair. Belair ended up being the special guest referee in her little, I guess, referee get up. Um, it was a decent match, to be honest with you. Both the girls did really well. Kind of saw this happening, that something was going to happen, that Belair was going to throw the match disqualification. I think I did mention it in my previous episode, and that's kind of how it played out. Rhea got mad, hit Belair. I think Io probably pushed off Belair to that effect, and then Belair finally got fed up with it and just threw the match. Hey, disqualified, it's done. And then they announced that it was going to be Io versus Belair, but Rhea not done. She ends up pretty much giving both of them the riptide, gives it to Io, and then off the second rope gives it to Belair and kind of leaves them just laying in the ring. Then you also see her kind of grab the title. You look at WrestleMania, grab the title, and then put it back down on Io's back. Still think this should be a three-way. Not sure why they didn't just pull the trigger on it. Yeah, they're trying to have a big build up to it. It's a better match, the three of them in it. I still don't believe Io and Belair will be a great match. If that's the case, Belair's going to win it hands down. I don't see how Io could win that match without some type of interference or something to that effect. So I really don't see that being a great match. Honestly, if it's not the three of them, I'm not excited for the match. Again, if it was Rhea and Belair, Makes sense. They're both strong. They're both powerful. They could both wrestle. So that made a lot of sense. Just them two. Io and one of the two girls doesn't make sense, but the three of them makes a whole lot more sense than just two of them. Um, but still, Rhea looks strong there. A pretty good segment, to be honest with you. Um, from here, we did have that was like the main event. So jumped a little ahead there. New Day had a match with the Catch Republic. Don't know who those guys are. I know who Pete Dunne is, but I don't know who everybody else is there. Apparently, they're from, I think, London when they were at this time around. So it makes sense to have like the hometown boys there. They did end up losing that match. Made the New Day look strong. Again, I'm not a fan of this New Day persona. At the end of that, you did see the War Raiders come out and kind of like had a standoff with them, showed them the titles and said, "Hey, you're not taking this from us." And they're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna take that from you." They actually might beat the War Raiders. I know Triple H is really big with the War Raiders right now. He liked them in NXT, used them to go up. So I definitely see that being a thing there. Um, Not really excited for that match. In theory, the War Raiders should just run through those guys. For the size that they have, they're super athletic. So we'll see how that goes. I don't see in real life Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods beating the War Raiders, but that's just me. So we'll see how that plays out. But one thing I do want to talk about is Gunther and Jimmy Big Brother Uso. So did not expect that to go that way, guys. I expected a little bit more. Kind of went along the lines of what I was saying. You were gonna have Jimmy wrestle Gunther. Something was gonna play out, and then Gunther was gonna end up, beating. And he was. I knew he was gonna win no matter what. It wasn't for the title there, but I knew that Gunther was gonna win. He was gonna take advantage of that, starting beating down, Jimmy Uso there. Jimmy did get in some good moves and some good hits there, but we knew Gunther was gonna win. It's a build to WrestleMania for his brother. Little brother came running down the aisle, jumped in there, ran him off. And then after, commercial break, you see that Gunther comes back and kind of like attacks him from the crowd while he's walking out with Jimmy. So little brother did help his older brother, like I mentioned, but it went way left after that. He attacked both of them, ends up zip tying Jay to the ropes and just decimates Jimmy there, just destroys Jimmy, puts him in the ring, busts him open a bunch of times. Like, I don't know when the actual hit happened, but he busted him open and he's just bleeding. His entire face is, I think how JR used to say, crimson red, but completely covered his face. And Jay's sitting there trying to pull the zip tie off and he can't get off. And within like arm's reach, he's just sitting there pummeling his older brother and pretty much saying, "Come on, Jay, you ain't shit. I'm gonna do the same thing to you," type of deal. Like, come on, save your brother. And he's just sitting there, can't do nothing. Security always doesn't do shit in those moments. They act like they're gonna get in the way, and then they allow them to do it. So, but he definitely beat Jay or Jimmy up and made him watch. So he definitely is living up to what he said. He's gonna make him suffer till WrestleMania. Um, I didn't expect it to go that way. I knew that, little brother was going to help big brother. That did come true. But to pretty much write off Jimmy right now, because I don't see him being in WrestleMania after that beatdown. He might be backstage, but I don't see him coming, to the ring or anything to that effect. He did listen to older brother, "Hey, I'm going to do this myself," type of deal. I want you to watch that he's beatable. And he put up a good match, but we all knew Gunther was going to win as it builds up to WrestleMania, like I mentioned. From there, just pretty much made us watch Jimmy get destroyed and made his little brother watch, kind of blaming you like this is your fault type of deal. Um, Crazy segment, crazy match. Definitely want to see what happens. I definitely hope, like I mentioned before, that Jay wins. Jay deserves a shot, even if his title shot isn't or title reign isn't long. He's been there for the past 15 years and he's put in the work, been a multiple time tag team champion, one of the longest reigning tag team champions with his brother. Feel like he needs the next step. And that they're kind of doing that too with the two brothers. They're having Jimmy, they're dressing completely different now. They're not dressing alike. I think the only thing they have matching was the Air Forces. Other than that, they completely different colors, different hair now, different beard going on. So they're definitely trying to separate the two to make sure you know who's who. So again, I feel like he's written off. We'll see what happens from there. But again, little brother did come out to help, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Um, Logan Paul did have a segment with AJ Styles, kind of saying, "Oh, I forgive you," type of deal. And then AJ looks at him. He was like, "What? All right, well, fine, fine. I respect that, but I forgive you too." And he goes like, "For what?" So Logan Paul is acting very delusional. But I will tell you, the fans were not letting Logan Paul get away with that shit. They booed him so much that he almost couldn't talk. You physically saw him rattled by him being booed, like physically rattled. He couldn't talk sometimes. So he went into saying, "Oh, you're poor, you're broke, you're broke, you're broke," like trying to make people feel bad, but he just looked really weak doing that. In my opinion, they end up exchanging blows. Um, it looks like they're going to be at WrestleMania because Logan Paul at the end did point to the WrestleMania sign, so I see that happening. Um, but then again, I will say that don't know who's going to benefit off of this. Like, unless you're going to make Logan Paul beat the shit out of AJ Styles and retire, I don't see this. What is this building? No one's going for a title right now. I know they just need a feud to make him relevant and maybe have more eyes watch WrestleMania because Logan Paul's there. But the fans are showing you they can't stand Logan Paul. I think that that Dom has heat because what he did to his dad and how he acts, but it's more of like a gimmick. People legitimately hate this guy, like hate Logan Paul. So there's a big difference there. To hate someone because of the person they are, or to hate the character that they are. Like they hate Logan Paul, they hate the character of Dirty Dom. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different there. Um, but again, that's what I'm thinking there. I will say though, Logan Paul has a crazy ass finisher. Gave it to AJ Styles. I'm not sure what it's called, to be honest with you. Have to look that up, but it has a crazy finisher. If you want to watch that segment, maybe on YouTube or something, or maybe just run it back on Netflix. Um, does have a really good finisher, but I'm actually surprised that this is a thing with them too. Like, I don't see how that's even a thing. But decent match or decent run Monday Night Raw there. Oh, forgot to mention Chad Gable's BS. Oh, he's sick again. He can't wrestle. But then next week they're going to be in his hometown, so I'm pretty sure either him or his mass persona is going to show up. Again, don't like the name. Probably not ever going to mention it again. But Chad Gable's going to find a way to wrestle and make himself relevant. But that is what it is. One thing I do want to talk about, unless it was an April Fool's thing, um, they did announce like the Slammy Awards, so you can vote. So one of them was like Female Star of the Year. You have Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bailey, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, and Io Sky. I'm a big Rhea Ripley fan, to be honest with you, so I'd always vote for her. But if anything, I would say Chelsea Green's been killing it this past year. She's just so funny. It's just her segments are good. If she has 3 minutes or 20 minutes, she's always making the best of it. So if it's not Rhea Ripley, it's Chelsea Green, and y'all can hate me if y'all want, but that's what it is. Male superstar of the year, you have Cody Rhodes, Gunther, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins. I would say, of course, it's probably going to be like Roman Reigns or Cody just because they're the bigger names, but it could also be Jey Uso because he just broke out this year and kind of put his name out there and they're pushing him a lot. So I would say one of those three: Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, or Jey Uso, in my opinion. Um, Social star of the year, you have Chelsea Green or Drew McIntyre. Haven't seen a lot of Chelsea Green on social media. Maybe that's just me. I'm not seeing it, but I know Drew McIntyre has a huge following and he's always posted shit. Always funny, especially when he had the CM Punk feud. He was always talking shit about CM Punk. So I would say out of those two, Drew McIntyre, in my opinion. Breakout star of the year, you have Breaker, Laya Valkyria, Penta, Obafemi, Tiffany Stratton, Jacob Fatu, Chelsea Green, and Stephanie Vakir. I would say with here, I wish they would have had like women's and men, but breakout star of the year, I would say Braun Breaker's been a fucking monster, and Jacob Fatu. So one of those two should definitely win that. If it was separated, I would say again it could be Chelsea Green and Stephanie Vakir. Those two have been killing it. Stephanie Vakir is more quiet. She's still learning the language, so she's still learning that. But she can wrestle her ass off. Saw her in AEW when she wrestled Mercedes, and then came over here, and now she's was a doubles champ before Tuesday. Had to relinquish one of the titles apparently. So again, if it was broken up, I would say Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker. But it's not. So I would say if I had to pick two, Stephanie Vakir and I would say Jacob Fatu for the breakout star of the year. Most memorable entrances, they had Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, Jey Uso on Raw Netflix debut, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, The Rock at WrestleMania, Bayley at WrestleMania, Randy Orton at Backlash, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, Philadelphia with the band, Sami Zayn in Montreal with Jey Uso, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens and Chad Gable, Logan Paul, Dominic Mysterio at WWE Bad Blood with Liv Morgan in the Lowrider, Drew McIntyre at WWE Clash at the Castle. Oh, that was a mouthful. But I think Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle was pretty cool. Showed him almost like, even though he wasn't the champ, he was going in there looking strong. It was just a nice segment. And again, that's just my opinion. But if not, I would say the next one would probably be, let's see, Randy Orton at Bash at Berlin. That was pretty cool as well. So those would probably be my two most memorable moments of entrances. Oh my God moment of the year. You have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match finish at WrestleMania. Dominic Mysterio turning on Rhea Ripley. Kevin Owens turning on Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. New Day turning on Big E. Tiffany Stratton Money in the Bank on Nia Jax. Damian Priest Money in the Bank cash in on Drew McIntyre. Wyatt Six debut. Braun Breaker spearing I Show Speed at WrestleMania. So I'm not laughing at that one, but I will say that one for sure. Um, Bronson Reed hitting the tsunami on Braun Strowman. John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam. Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley to become the women's champion. So for sure, for me, even though I Show Speed got his ass drilled into the mat by Braun Breaker, for me it was Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley for the title on Monday Night Raw. Um, I literally sat there watching with my daughter, and I'm like, "What the hell did WWE just do? Why would they allow this to happen so close to WrestleMania?" It's a slow build to have Rhea back in there, but I still think it was a mistake. They literally had me like, "Holy shit, what the fuck are they doing?" The next one here is faction of the year. You have the OG Bloodline, the Judgment Day, the New Bloodline, American Made, and Damage Control. I would say for sure it's going to be the OG Bloodline. They had the best faction for a while. They were running WWE with all the titles, even had one from NXT when Solo had it. So for sure it's got to be the Bloodline. Tag Team of the Year, you have DIY, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair. Motor City Machine Guns, The Bloodline, The War Raiders, The Judgment Day, The Street Profits, Liv Morgan, and Raquel. I would say Tag Team of the Year to me would have to be The Bloodline. You know, the Usos were always running things. They had double titles at one point, so I would say for sure it's them, The Bloodline. Close second could be Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. They just look really strong wrestling everybody, so that could be a close second. Rivalry of the year, you had CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns and Cody, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Balor, Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, Nia Jax versus Tiffany. Then you also had Bloodline versus Bloodline. Even though it was a good thing for Bloodline versus Bloodline, I feel like CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had the best feud of the year solely because he cost him the title. Like once he won it, they got into an altercation. Damian Priest comes out, takes the title from him. So I would say that was and then they had their Hell in a Cell, which was a crazy ass match. And they're just build up like for a few weeks to a month. It was just a couple months there just building up. CM Punk had the messed up arm, so they just built that up slowly. Vote. And then the next one is NXT Star of the Year. You have Obas Femi, Roxana Perez, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, and Keelan Jordan. Looks like Obafemi to me. He's just very dominant. You could also have Trick Williams because he did have the title for a long time, so it could be one of those two. Match of the year: Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns and The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest and Gunther, Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, 2000 Men's War Games match, Bayley versus Io Sky, Sami Zayn versus Gunther. You had Gunther versus Randy Orton, Seth versus Punk on the Raw Netflix premiere. I still got to go to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell. Great match. Again, finalized their feud and kept going from there. What the fuck moment of the year? R-Truth calls Triple H Ciampa. Kevin Owens car interviews. Chelsea Green goes into the dumpster. Dominic Mysterio is in a shark cage. I shows P with Logan Paul WrestleMania. LA Knight in Logan Paul's pool. R-Truth wrestles with John Cena. Rabbit noises from Tamatanga. Jacob Fatu, I Love You Solo. The Y6 debut. For me, I would say Domina in the cage hanging over, the people. That was pretty crazy. Even though he had a harness on, that's still scary, that can break and could fall, break an arm. So that was pretty cool to me. So again, those are your Slammy Awards, guys. If you guys are going to vote, go ahead and do so. Again, this is Jax from your Popcorn Review Podcast. Thanks for watching.